Welcome to leg number 6 of the Event Rider Masters, and with just 2 legs remaining, time is running out for the world's best riders and their horses. But there's still plenty of questions to be answered, like who's going to win leg number 6 and who is going to take one step closer to being crowned series champion. To find the answer, we've made our way into the Scottish Highlands. Welcome to Blair Castle. Welcome to the Event Rider Masters.
Welcome to the Event Rider Masters 2017. Now in its second year, this is the ultimate eventing series, spanning 7 events in 7 iconic locations across Britain and Europe, culminating at Blenheim Palace, where the series champion will be crowned. Scotland plays host to the penultimate leg of the Event Rider Masters as the 2017 series heads to the beautiful Scottish Glens for the Blair Castle Equitrek International Horse Trials. With the tension rising in the race for the Masters title, competition will be fast and furious as 32 of the world's very best international horses and riders from 9 different countries will battle it out over the next 2 days for a podium spot and precious series points. This stellar field of eventing superstars and Olympic heroes will be showcasing the finest in equestrianism and tested to their limits across the 3 classic eventing disciplines. From the style and grace of dressage, to the precision and accuracy of show jumping, to the power and adrenaline of cross-country, in their quest for eventing's ultimate prize. This is the Event Rider Masters.
Welcome back to the extraordinary setting of Blair Castle, nestled in the heart of Scotland, just south of the Cairngorms. This is the most incredible location for the penultimate leg of the 2017 Event Rider Masters series. Blair Castle itself is steeped in history. It's the seat of the Dukes of Atholl, who are actually the only family in Europe to still have their own private army, and it's providing the stunning backdrop for all 3 phases here. This afternoon is all about the cross-country, and the Blair Hills will no doubt provide a really tough test of stamina and endurance. We have optimum conditions here, and it is the most beautiful, beautiful setting. We have some great camera shots coming for you, and it promises to be an extremely exciting afternoon of action. We're very pleased to have you with us. Joining me in the studio for this afternoon's cross country is Swedish international Ludvig Svennesol and also Derm Byrne from Echo Ratings. We can't wait to hear what you guys have to say, but it is not just us here in the studio. Let's go and say a very good afternoon to Michael.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Good afternoon to everyone watching at home. Well, this is where our riders are going to want to be. It is our Event Rider Masters rolling podium. Just 3 seats are available on here, and all of our riders are going to really want to sat here. But where they're really going to want to be sat is this seat here, because they'll walk away with £16,000. Currently in pole position, we have Reporter Berry and Master Berry, but I can tell you something, they're not going to be here for very long. Nicole, I think we've got one exciting cross-country on the way.
Oh, haven't we just? And it is not just about the leg, because it is about the series as well. It is leg 6 here. We've had 5 legs already, and we ventured into Europe for the very first time with legs in Wiesbaden and Jardy as well. Let's take a look and remind ourselves of all of the action. We are going to have our first female winner, and it is going to be
Gemma, yes.
10 seconds.
Gemma Tattersall. What a round, what a lady, what a horse.
Sarah Cohen is on the podium. She is celebrating. This is a huge shock, and this is against all the numbers. Sarah Cohen has won. He's already won it once. Can he win it again?
The clock is about to turn red. Thomas Carlyle tops the podium for the 2nd time in his career. And he is going to do it. It's nip and tuck. But Mickey Young, the first German winner of an Event Rider Masters, she is going to go into the lead. She will go to the top of the podium. Gemma Tattersall is going to take leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters series. Well, Gemma Tattersall bidding to become the first person to win 3 Event Rider Masters legs, and it would be on 3 different horses. She comes with 104 points currently locked in, and she needs to be 6th or better here to improve those points. Sarah Cohen, again, an important round to watch out for, as is Marcio George. So Mark Todd, 69 points. Things didn't go to plan for him in the show jumping, and the show jumping was very influential this morning. We'll catch up with that a little bit later on. But we all know that it is not just about the riders, it's not just about the owners, it's not about the horses. The grooms, the unsung heroes, they make such a difference. Let's find out a little bit more.
In the Event Rider Masters series, we see the stars, the horses, and the stars, the riders, but they don't get there by themselves. They have a massive support crew behind them, and it's the grooms that are the key people of that support group.
The horses want for nothing. They tend to their absolute every single need, and they're also very well loved.
We as athletes couldn't do our job as well without them.
They're a really important part of the team.
They're unsung heroes.
Event Rider Masters wants to recognise the importance of the grooms and give them a little something, and Hi-Ho Silver Jewellery also appreciate the key role that the grooms play and are giving them a little prize from our Super Groom competition.
For me, this is what I love doing. I love coming to big competitions and being involved in the sport at the elite level.
My main job is looking after the competition horses and travelling to the competitions with them.
I keep the lorry clean and stocked up with food and with horse gear and all that's needed for events and travelling away.
Being a groom definitely involves more than just, grooming the horses and preparing them.
It's a full-time job. We need to look after every aspect there is of the horse's health and welfare.
I get super nervous. I feel like, if the horse slips or if the horse isn't listening to the rider and they get a bad stride at a fence and then something went wrong, I would feel that was on me. It is quite a lot of responsibility.
My mum grooms for me at events. Clearly we've got a very long relationship, and she knows me inside out.
What I try and do when I'm doing the horses is to not be her mum. I'm her friend and her groom. In the evenings when we go back to the lorry and we have a meal, then I'm her mum again.
The grooms are pretty good friends, and we, all of us, we love our horses so much, and we really, we take a lot of pride in our work.
It's amazing to be recognised, and the ERM Super Groom is so great for not only me but all my friends to have this acknowledgement of what we do.
Well, the dressage got us underway here yesterday, and it shaped up the competition for the weekend. Let's take a look at how all of the action happened in that first phase.
Leg 6 of the Event Rider Masters. The world's best horses and riders arrive at Blair Castle in Scotland, and their time is running out in the race for the 2017 series title.
Yeah, it's great to be back here. I was last here 9 years ago. It's just a great event. It's quite relaxed, and you just got to get on with your job.
Well, we're here to try and get on the podium. Gemma's got a bit of a big lead on us so far, so we're all out to try and catch her up.
I'll certainly be giving it my best shot with Pomero 4 here at Blair. He's feeling really well and really fit, and we'll be giving it a go.
Australian rider Christopher Burton on Graf Liberty put in a solid performance to score a 38.9, lying third after dressage.
I thought some of the shoulder in and half pass was some of the best we've seen.
Kiwi Olympic legend Sir Mark Todd kept the pressure on the overall series lead, just pipping Burton with a score of 38.7, securing second place going into the show jumping. But it was young German rider Nicholas Bashora and Tom Tom Go who impressed the judges the most. Their superb test earned them a score of 37, one of only 4 sub-40 scores of the day, and they hold the overnight lead here at Blair Castle.
Went in the arena and he was just so focused on me the whole way, and I couldn't be happier with him.
But with just 2 show jumping poles worth of penalties, teen riders, nothing is certain. As we look forward to the jumping phases here at leg 6 of the 2017 Event Rider Masters.
Well, the dressage set us up yesterday, but this morning was all about the coloured poles and the show jumping. And as expected, it was certainly influential.
When you feel like you're stuck in a rut, just find your way today, don't wait. When you can't seem to find that fire that fuels your mind, 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 your
Well, as expected, the leaderboard changed significantly after that second phase. Frankie Reid-Warrilow rose from 5th after Dressage up to the top of the leaderboard with that clear round with Dolly Whisper. The big mover, Gemma Tattersall, Primero 4. That clear round from her sees her rise into second. What a podium finish would do for her series chances. Shane Rose and Virgil as well, another clear round. There were 7 in total, and they were certainly influential. Just 21 seconds covers the top 10 across the country. 55 seconds covers the top 20. That may sound like a lot, but Sarah Cohen and Treason, for example, will be looking to capitalise on that because the time here at Blair is always highly influential. Marcio George, Coronel MCJ clear inside the time at Chatsworth earlier on this season, and they will be looking to do more of the same here this afternoon. So Olivia Wilmot, Zebedee Foyer, 11 penalties for them. And as you can see, there were a lot of influential rounds, including that of Ludwig Svenestall and El Kazir SP. Ludwig in the studio with us as well, and we'll be hoping to get his take on them. These will be the top 10 coming forward to the cross country, and we will be welcoming them in reverse order of merit. So Frankie Reid-Warrilow and Dolly Whisper will be the last combination out on course. We're not going to know the winner until the last horse, until Frankie crosses the line a little bit later on this afternoon. But Ludwig and Derm in the studio with me. Guys, let's just take a moment to look back on that show jumping this morning, because it was certainly influential. Nicholas Bashkora was our dressage leader, and things didn't go to plan for him, Derm. 2 poles down and a time penalty. Was that basically what the form expected?
Yeah, not far off, Nicole. I think he's also going to face a test in the cross-country phase, you know, from a jumping point of view. They have had some time off, so they've made a bit of a return in 2017, but there's going to be questions asked cross-country jumping. That's the big one for us all to be thinking about in the afternoon, and that's what we're going to be turning to now. You're seeing the show jumping on your screens in front of you. This is the platform which sets everything up for the afternoon. 50% of the field didn't jump clear last year, Nicole. So you can expect that not only the show jump will be influential, but this afternoon's jumping too.
So Nicholas, he was no doubt disappointed with those couple of mistakes in his show jumping, because it does take him down into 8th. I mean, he's still in the top 10, and he'll be still looking to stay inside that top 10 on this afternoon's cross country. But there were some really key clear rounds in the show jumping, and we'll come on to a couple of those, because Frankie Reid-Warrilow, Dolly Whisper, a horse that is notoriously good and careful in the show jumping, isn't she, Derm? I know she was one of Echo Rating's bankers for a clear round. She duly delivered.
Yeah, we did okay with our show jumping clear rounds this morning, but let's get Ludwig just to talk us through some of what he's seen on here, because this mare has jumped a lot of clear rounds in her time. She jumped one here last year, and she's delivered again today, Ludwig.
Yeah, I mean, this is really one of the best jumpers on the circuit. It's really top jumper and very consistent and clever, I think. Yeah, it's a very good jumper and has a very good record.
Yeah.
She's a little mare, 15.3. Frankie will be needing to shave every second she can across the country this afternoon. She'll be last out on course, but importantly, Gemma Tattersall, all about the series points. She needs to be 6th or better here to improve 104 points on her series leaderboard, and a clear round. She duly delivered with Primero 4.
What a position she's put herself in with this round. Primero 4, they're still a very new partnership. This is only their 3rd time competing at international level together. So, yeah, They've a 50-50 so far, but obviously only 2 rounds, so you can't really read too much into that. They delivered today when asked, and they've put themselves, again, letting this be the platform for the afternoon, they've put themselves into a very, very strong position going cross-country, Nicole.
Well, one clear round in the show jumping was Beanie Sturgis and Lebowski. She's moved up to 5th after that second phase. The fastest horse in the field. We know it's going to be influential the time, but how special would it be for Beanie to produce the goods here?
I think sometimes in eventing you need a lot of different factors to come together for a story like this to happen. A 17-year-old horse potentially on his last run, a career best dressage PB, a show jumping clear round, and the horse who's the fastest in the field just happens to be coming to Blair on a day when speed is going to be everything. I think it's going to be very special.
Well, Alec Lahore is the course designer here at Blair, and he has certainly put a really tough test in store for our riders. Let's take a closer look.
The cross-country course for the Event Rider Masters at the Blair Castle Equitrack International Horse Trial starts out big and bold over the Equitrack flower box. A couple of fences on the low ground before climbing the hill to the first big question, the SAP hedges. The SAP hedges on 4 long strides at 4A and B. Fence 6 then, the Bailey's angled hedges. They jump a log then in the woods at 7 before coming to a huge parallel at 8, and then the Equitrack water at 9, A, B, C and D. The St James's Place water at 11, A and B has 4 curving strides. They drop in over the log into the water and then splash through and away. The Brooder parapet wall comes in at the 4-minute marker, and then it's the Land Rover area. They'll explode out over this big log, and then they have these triple brush arrowheads on 3 strides. The Malcolm Group Locken represents the 4th bridges here in Scotland, and they push in, then out over this corner at the 2nd element, looking to be here at 5.5 minutes. The lower Locken, again sponsored by the Malcolm Group, is Whiskey Barrels to Corners. Here close to home they have 2 short strides inside the Event Scotland angled brushes. And then it's a push on to home. Who will have the best Highland fling in Scotland as they jump the kilted legs to complete the 7-minute track designed by Alec Lahore in the Highlands of Scotland?
Well, Alec knows these Blair Hills so well. Let's hear what he had to say. He caught up with Michael.
Alec, we've just seen that beautiful course there. Tell us a little bit about it. What should we be looking for?
Well, I think you want the horses to, they've obviously got to keep up their average speed, but not to chase up the hill too quickly at the beginning. I've created some very positive distances, I think. At the fence at 6, I want them to come down on 3 and 3, and through the Equitrack water, I think that 4 strides, I want them to be forward, 4 strides, and then 5 strides up the bounce. And similarly at the skinny brushes, I want them to be on 4 strides and then 3 strides. So I've created a course where I want them to be positive, but they've also got to be controlled. There's plenty of time to gallop at the bottom. There's a really quick finish. The corners at the Malcolm Loughlin are the last ones where they've really got to be really careful. But then at the end, they've got 1.5 minutes of really good gallop time at on the bottom.
Lebowski's had a fantastic weekend. We know he's a very quick horse, but what kind of horse does this course suit?
Well, I think I don't want to put a curse on Beanie because that would be a wonderful result. I mean, a blood horse, a thoroughbred horse, you know, one that can really keep the gas on and keep galloping I think will succeed here.
Alec, thank you very much. Well, we're right here on the start line. In just a few moments' time, our riders will be leaving this start box to get started with our cross country. It is going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. Nicole, back to you.
Thanks, Michael. And let's take a closer look at what is in store. We've already seen the flyover, but our technology partners, SAP, well, this is what is in store. The technical details, 3,985 metres the total course. That long run up after fence 3 to the combination at 4, sure to be an early test of stamina. 7 minutes, that all-important optimum time, 0.4 of a time penalty for every second over that, and it can certainly add up very quickly, particularly here at Blair where the time is so influential. To make that optimum time, riders would have to be travelling at an average speed of 570 metres per second, but obviously plenty of combinations to slow them up. 24 numbered fences, and that is 34 jumping efforts in total. Once riders get down into the bottom of the valley, the last couple of questions come up thick and fast. Riders will be checking the watch as the first horse goes on course. Well, that is timing, and we will be guiding you through all of the action here at Blair Castle. Ailey Jane Middleton gets us underway with Westmoor Quality, comes forward on a score of 105.3 in 25th position after the first two phases, and didn't have the easiest of times in the show jumping, but she'll be looking for a good, clear confidence building round across the country. Ludwig Svenestall and Dan Byrne from Echo Ratings here in the studio with us, and we're looking forward to getting your insight, Ludwig. You've ridden around some of the biggest tracks. What was your initial thoughts on Alec Lahore's course?
I think it's a very good course. Time, I think, will be very, very difficult to get, if not impossible. And it's a course that you need to think a little bit how you dispose the energy of the horse. If you go too fast in the beginning, you will not have a horse in the end. So it's about knowing your horse and how fast you can go, and those things will be very important in a course like this.
And it is the terrain here at Blair that makes it so special as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very special event in that case, and there's no tracks like this. It's a really tough course, and I think you want a thoroughbred horse to go fast around here, because if you don't really have that, it's going to be difficult.
Well, this is the first real question on course. Fence 4, the SAP hedge and double hedge for A and B, and riders could choose to jump any part of that first element, but Ailey went down the middle.
Yeah, I think it's the easiest option. I mean, you can go on the right side if you want to save a little bit of time, maybe, but it's a nice fence still and a nice line, and it's still just coming up that hill and making sure they're still going.
So Ailey heads on out of sight through the woods, and we'll next see her as she comes to the angled brushes at 6A and B. And that comes after that drop down. We're going to see her in just a second. Here we are, Ludwig. That drop down is deceivingly huge.
Yeah, it's massive. It's a difficult questions, because you never know really how they're going to jump down. And as you see, then you have two questions. You just don't need to get to the first hedge. You also have a second hedge, which then if you can't control the jump down, you have difficulties in the last hedge normally. And it's a tough question.
Well, Ailey Jane Middleton, our pathfinder out on course, comes to the first of the waters. The Scotland's Air Ambulance parallel, that enormous parallel going down the hill to the water, then sets up for the Equitrek boat. 4 elements in the water for Ailey.
This I think is a difficult question, because you got the oxer in the beginning that makes some horses a bit careful, and then they get this problem in the end. It's difficult to keep a good flow and find the right stridings.
So Ailey, after that problem up the step, it was always going to be difficult after that to trip in the water, is able to turn back to the black flag alternative. So it isn't any penalties for taking the alternative, just for the 20 penalties for that refusal.
Well, the big one to note from me, our Pathfinder, they actually have a very good jumping record. So remember, I'll remind you a number of times across the day, only 50% of our field jumped clear here last year. 1 in 2. We're just seeing that on the replay now again for Ailey Jane.
I think she didn't really get the right line, and then the striding didn't come up correctly, and then she got in trouble. It's really finding the line there to get the horse a good experience through that water.
Well, our latest starter, Katie McKee and Delaney Away, jumped a good jumping clear round in the show jumping, but 3-time penalties. They come forward on 65.8, so sit in 20th position after the first 2 phases. And she gets underway with a couple of nice inviting fences to start her round. The Equitrek Flower Box at 1, the British Horse Society Shepherd's Hut that follows at 2. And that long run up the hill to the SAP Box Brush and Hedge. And the question comes very early on, Ludwig, because while it is on a straightforward line, Alec Lahore has really taken into account the terrain.
Yeah, which is what makes this course so difficult. It's all about the terrain, and And I think if you saw the first horse, it didn't really feel like it was going. I think you want a horse that's really keen and going forward around the track like this. And I think the fantastic thing is, you know, even if, say for example, even if you're in 20th position as the other rider was, she can still be very competitive with a fast time. This is really a cross-country competition, and it will really change the leaderboard.
Well, this is one of the key questions on the course. The Land Rover combination 15, the log, and then the related distance to the two enormous triple brushes.
I think now she has a very good horse, and the horse was really amazing through there, but she angled the second fence a little bit too much, and then she gets too much bend to the last one for the ideal line. And here you can see you can go a little bit different lines on this drop down to the two hedges, but I think she made a good job out of that.
So Katie McGee off in search of the first water. And that enormous parallel, the ground really slopes away coming into the water. And we saw with Ailey that it's a difficult time, because if you lose your stride, it makes the rest of the combination very difficult.
Yeah, I think it makes it very difficult, and you also go a bit careful over the parallel, and then it becomes quite difficult to keep a flow, as you did.
Well, Katie McGee is true. It didn't look pretty at times, but the key part, they are true. They're not carrying jumping penalties. Looking at the recent record, they did pick up penalties at Podium and Bramham. They retired at Hopetoun. So this is the phase that they're going to want to deliver in. If they can deliver here, as Ludwig says, there's a lot of ground that they're going to be able to make up.
Well, Ailey Middleton, 30 seconds on the clock to get home. She's not going to be chasing that 7-minute optimum time, carrying those 20 penalties, but boldly in to that enormous first water. The Malcolm Group Locken, and takes the direct route out of both of those corners. Ludwig, riders could choose to just waste a little bit more time and take a slightly easier corner option.
Yeah, I think so, but I think the line is actually quite nice, and I think if you take an alternative there, then you're not really competitive, because the line is quite clear, and for me there's no real
You'd
reason.
go straight,
yeah.
is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So Ludwig Svennestor would take the straight route. But Ailey Middleton, Westmill Quality, just the clock turns red, so picking up those time penalties. But they've enjoyed a good round across the country, had that first problem in the water up at the Equitrek combination at 9, but they certainly put that behind them and home well within their sights now. As Katie McGee and Delaney. Clear jumping so far. 2.5 minutes left on the clock as they go to the Bruadar parapet wall. And this is a deceiving fence, Ludwig, because the landing side is much higher than the takeoff side.
Yeah, but it's quite a nice fence. It's still fairly straightforward. I think it sets you nice up for this next question, which is a lot more serious. Here she puts in another stride compared to the other one before, but then got a better line to the last fence and still kept the 3 strides. I think there you need to know your horse and know what you've got to choose how you choose your line. There will be some horses that will go on 5 and 3, 5 and 4 and so on.
Well, Ailey Middleton and Westmill Quality, just the final fence to go, the top spec final fling at 24. And it's been a good round for our Pathfinders, just the 20 penalties at the Equitrek Water, but they've still given us a really good indication as to the course out there. And they will go on to complete 156.1. So Ailey Middleton, Westmill Quality, our Pathfinders home safely. A great shot of riders making their final preparations down at the warm-up. What goes through your mind, Ludwig, in those final couple of moments before you go out the start box?
Just thinking through the course and sticking to the plan I made when I walked the course and beforehand. I mean, it depends a little bit where you lie in the leaderboard and what you can do. And obviously, some runs are a bit more competitive than others, but just sticking to the plan and make it happen, really.
Well, Katie McGee, Delaney, 50 seconds left on the clock at the Malcolm Group barrels now, and swings left-handed back into the water. It's a real S-bend there, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, for me, she makes it a bit more difficult when she goes out and go around it. Sure, she makes the fence a little bit clearer and easier, but you break the rhythm and it just looks a bit like hard work. It's not really a smooth line she rides.
Right now they won't care because they're clear jumping, and that's what it's all going to be about for them. substance over style when you're at this stage. You just need to come home with no jumping penalties, and they're doing a good job.
Well, our latest starter heads on up the hill to the SAP hedge and double hedge. It is Nana Dalton with absolute opposition. Nana away from the start on a penalty score of 60.2. That left her in 18th position after the first two phases. And this horse that has competed at the highest level, 4-star level, has spent a bit of time on the sidelines. So Nana perhaps not looking to chase the clock. She certainly doesn't look to have set out overly quickly.
No, she looks very steady. And I think it's, yeah, I wouldn't say she seems to be very competitive, just giving the horse a nice round for the next show maybe. But see there, she went on the right side, a little bit tighter line, and jumped it very nicely. And I think it's, you know, it's also how you choose to ride your course. Maybe you take it a bit easier the first 2 minutes to then save energy for the end.
Well, the first rider we've seen to take the left-handed route through those angled brushes, the Event Scotland angled brushes 23, A and B. And it is Katie McGee and Delaney heading towards the top spec final fling to complete their round. And it'll be interesting to see her time. I'm not sure she's going to be anywhere near the 7 minutes, but certainly looks to have finished with a good amount of petrol in the tank.
I think we're really going to struggle to see someone getting inside that 7 minutes, but it'll be very interesting. She rode nicely there on the 3 and 3. Maybe I think you can have a little bit straighter line to make it a bit clearer. She made 2 bends a little bit, but those jumped it well.
Well, Nana Dalton and absolute opposition will swing back left-handed to the Equitrek combination at 9, the first of the waters.
Be interesting to see how she gets on with this water. I mean, the first 2 wasn't the most beautiful through it, maybe. So.
And it is very much your jump over the parallel does affect that a shot that you get at the first obstacle in the water.
Yeah, I think so too. And then I think she's doing a very good job. She keeps the flow up, and it was super riding. Really, really good riding. She kept the momentum. I think the other 2 lacked a little bit of momentum once they came down.
Well, you were looking at a rider with 31 CIC, 3 stars and an 88% jumping clear record. So while this horse that we're looking at, absolute opposition, is on a bit of a comeback trail and may pick up some time, you're likely to see you've got a very, very experienced cross-country jumping rider on his back. 88% clear rate for Nana Dalton.
Megan Heath next away with Camelot. Megan rides for New Zealand, brings forward a penalty score of 88.6.
I think this is a very nice horse. I've seen it quite a lot, and I think this is still a little bit an inexperienced horse, but I think it's a really exciting horse for Megan for the future, because it has really the quality you want in a top horse.
Well, at the St James's Place Water at 11, easily through there. Nana Dalton, absolute opposition, and she's got a little under 3 minutes left on the clock. We'll do a clock check for her in just a moment. She hasn't been chasing that 7-minute optimum time out on course, but certainly hasn't wasted any time in terms of taking good lines to her fences. Camelot clear through the first question at 4A and B, the SAP brush.
Well, Camelot, just a 10-year-old. He did jump clear in the CCI 3-star at Campfire last month, so he picked up just 9.6 time penalties at Campfire. Time was reasonably tight. It's going to be a much tighter challenge today. They had 20 penalties at Houghton Hall and retired at Bramham, but started the year very, very well and finished last year very well. Clear rounds at Buccleuch, then Belton this year and Burnham Market this year. So she's hoping to follow up on that Campfire result today.
Well, interesting to see what Nana does here. She goes on the 5 strides, but still gets a good line there. I think it's a little bit as you jump the log, you need to have decided what you're going to ride on the 4 or 5. Both are very possible, but I think if you want to make the time and be competitive, the 4 is the option to choose.
And it is about making a commitment, isn't it? Cross-country riding is riding what is underneath you, but you have a plan. and you have to commit to whatever your decision is.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to be clear on what you're supposed to do, and so you can give the horse a fair chance to read it. It's really, you need to jump in the line on the line and really have decided what's my plan, what suits the horse, and I think that's why we would see a little bit different striding there, because how it's built. The question is, can make, because of the bend, some different questions, but you definitely need to decide that beforehand.
Well, Nana Dalton approaching the Malcolm Group lock-in with 45 seconds left on the clock. She's at least 45 seconds down, more likely to be a minute as she jumps into that water. But it's been a good clear round across the country so far, and has certainly made things look relatively straightforward. We certainly know it's not as well. Alex Lahore has set a real challenge for our riders here in the penultimate leg of the Event Rider Masters Series. Reverse order cross country means that Frankie Reed-Warrilow, our show jumping leader, will be the last to go out on course this afternoon.
I think this is a very nice horse to make it very easy of this question. You can see it's a very experienced horse and very quality.
Particularly after so much time off. And that's the big thing to remember. You're actually watching a bit of a masterclass, I would suggest, from the rider, to be taking absolute opposition back here, having had so much time off, and to be able to do this on the cross country.
See Megan here through the first water. I mean, it's a little bit close, but I think big job was done, and it's very nice. The horse is very nice and going forward, so it's okay.
And again, the key thing today, Ludwig, we're going to have to remember it again and again. Can they get through with no jumping penalties? Because the time is going to rack up for riders all across the board, but 20 penalties is going to add significantly to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, you know, you have a lot of questions out there that need to be jumped, and you need to make the time will be close. You will need to take the forward shot on every fence, and it's a little bit like Gatcombe 3 weekends ago. You know, the time will be the most influential part, and it will become a very exciting cross-country competition at the end of the day.
Well, Nana Dalton gives absolute opposition at Pat as she goes clear of the Event Scotland angled brushes at the penultimate. She's well over the optimum time, but hasn't chased for the 7-minute target. She goes to the top spec final fling and clears it nicely to go on to complete. She's going to pick up some 31.2 time penalties, but a good clear round. Megan Heath at the water, that's the St James's Place water at fence 11. Looks to have had a refusal there, so she's going to come round for her second attempt. 20 penalties for one refusal, and comes to represent another refusal as well. So she'd have 20 penalties for the first refusal, 40 for the second, and a third refusal would mean elimination, Ludwig.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the horse is looking very much there and doesn't actually want to jump it. So I guess she's eliminated now. But it's a little bit, you know, she didn't maybe have the perfect ride of the first water, and then you come to the next one and the horse remembers a little bit what happened in the water before. So, you know, it's a tough question when you walk it.
Well, Jessica Mackay asked the boss, just tripping up the step coming out of the Equitrek water at 9. 20 penalties, can't make the bounce, so they have to take the black flag alternative and carrying those 20 penalties. So they go on towards home. Well, we just see there Megan Heath just having a chat to one of the FEI veterinary officials on course, just making sure everything's in order. Horse welfare paramount, of course, and she will just make sure that she saves this horse Camelot for another occasion.
I think, you know, you saw there in the water, it's really about keeping a positive riding. As soon as, and that's what's a little bit difficult, you come down the hill, you have the horse a little bit pulling, it's easy then to become defensive and not attack the next fence. And once you lose momentum in that combination, you are basically have a very long way to go.
That's been the most influential part of the course so far on what we've seen. We just saw Jess and asked the boss pick up penalties at the exact same part. We saw some people who didn't pick up penalties also struggling their way through that water. That's one to watch at the moment.
Well, our latest starter, an Event Rider Masters debut for Morven Pringle with Dunbog Gypsy Rose. A good round in the show jumping, 1 pole and 3 times, sees them come forward on 62.4. As Jessica Mackay and Ask the Boss. They go on to the House of Brewer Triple Rails. Then on to that slightly angled ultra bed shavings Brock, and that's an interesting fence, Ludwig, because it isn't particularly challenging, but you do have to take it at a slight angle, and again, the terrain plays its part.
Yeah, and I think as well, you know, if you want to ride on the time and be as fast as possible, it's a little bit a speed bump, you know. If you go too fast, it's not very comfortable, so you want to hit it at the right speed but not waste so much time. And that is a fence that's then easy to, when you're not respected, to have a little mistake, and you still want to give the horse a good feeling through.
For the Land Rover combination for Jessica Mackay, and Ask the Boss. Jess's airbag has just gone off, and unfortunately that ends her competition under FEI rules. That would mean elimination, but she'll just be winded. When your air jacket goes off, Ludwig, it is quite a shock, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's a very good thing. It really shows that it brings the horse forward and develop this, bring the sport forward and
safety.
Develop, yeah, and it's a very important thing. I think it's a great thing, and it's good for our sport to keep these innovations, and it's the same with SAP, who is also improving the sport.
Well, that is a problem for Morven Pringle. Dunbog Gypsy Rose at that big parallel coming down into the Equitrek water. So 20 penalties for that refusal, and I think she might have just touched her hat and signalled to our ground jury that she plans to retire. But this next combination is one to keep a very close eye on. This is going to be a really good indication of that optimum time. Marcio George for Brazil, Coronel MCJ, 2-time penalties in the show jumping, didn't have the easiest of times in the dressage, but 57.9 they bring forward in 17th position coming forward to this cross country. Now, Derm, I know Equiratings are huge fans of this horse across the country.
Well, today we're huge fans of speed and horses that have got the ability to deliver. We know that Colonel MCJ, a Brazilian, a thoroughbred, has the ability. So clear inside the time in the CIC 3-star class at Chatsworth. Less than 5 riders have done it in the history of that class. Colonel MCJ delivered this year at Chatsworth, so we know he has it. From a speed point of view, this is going to be the first rider to challenge the clock, and the reason he will do that is that this Brazilian rider is still in with a very big chance in the Event Rider Masters series. Getting onto that series podium is what Marcio is going to be thinking about, and of course we've got WEG next year. So this is a horse to remember, to keep an eye on and to watch from a speed point of view.
And I think he's a very competitive rider. He's here to win some money, and I'm sure he will go for it. The horse is thoroughbred, very rideable, so I think he has a good chance to be one of the fastest combinations. And if he can go inside the time, he will be in a very, very good position. He really has a chance to do something good, and we can see in comparison to the riders before, he's going out there in another speed, and I think he wouldn't be too far off the clock when he comes and jumps this combination, actually.
He's got 5 minutes left on the clock, and he would need to be there with 5 minutes and 4. So he's perhaps a couple of seconds down, but he's there or thereabouts.
And I think as well, like now when he's got a thoroughbred, so he actually has a chance to let it run a little bit up the hill, but he can then use it going down the hill to recover a little bit, and then he can chase the last 2 minutes. So I think, you know, it'd be very interesting to see what his time is. It'd be interesting to see as well how he jumps this water.
Well, he is 10 seconds exactly down on the clock, jumping that parallel to where he would need to be. So he's certainly a lot faster, and he's going for it through the Equitrek water. And he's certainly a lot faster than anybody we've seen so far. But Marcio George, a round of applause from the crowds gathered down at the Equitrek water. Always a firm fan favourite.
I think it's great. You see, really, he's a top-class jockey. He comes and get a little bit of careful jump over the parallel, and then you can really see the difference between him and an Olympic rider. He knows that, okay, now I had a little bit careful down. I need to ride maybe a bit more positive than I ideally want, and he really got the job done. And I think that shows a little bit where you are experience-wise.
Well, this young lady has a huge future ahead of her. It is Chuffy Clark for Great Britain, with Jane and Jonathan Clark's second chance. They've gone clear of the Equitrek flower box at 1 And away from the British Horse Society, Shepherd's Hut at 2 to get their round underway. As Marcio George clear of both elements at the St James's Place Water at 11. Now this is an opportunity for Marcio Ludwig to really open up on the accelerator.
Yeah, I think now he has a chance to catch up on those seconds he was behind and use the hills to get the horse rolling down the hill a little bit to as well, you know, catch a breath, and then he can keep going again, because you can't really have the gas on the accelerator the whole time.
We'll use this time, use Colonel MCJ as a benchmark. Treason and Sarah Cohen, they're still to come. They finished with very, very little time penalties at Chatsworth. It's a horse that is ahead of Colonel MCJ on the speed ratings, and don't forget Lebowski is still to come. Colonel MCJ is going to be our benchmark. It's going to give us a really good indication of what we can expect at the very top of this class later to come.
He needs to be jumping this log with 2:43 left on the clock, so he's going to be about 20 seconds down on his clock now. But by far the quickest we've seen, but a run out. The second element of the Land Rover Arrowheads catches out Marcio George, Coronel MCJ. He needed series points here, and unfortunately those 20 penalties are not going to get them for him. Just see this again, Ludwig.
He went on 5 there to the first one, and then when you go on the 5, you really need to commit to the last element. And I think maybe it's difficult to see on the screen, but maybe he was a little bit off it.
Well, Coronel MCJ walking home after that 20 penalties, Marcio deciding to retire. So all eyes turn now to Chuffy Clark, second Supreme. This a horse that has been round the biggest of 4 stars with Pippa Funnel. Chuffy took over the ride a little bit earlier on this season, and they've had a good deal of success. They jumped double clear on their debut at this level at Barbury.
Interesting. We've talked about Colonel MCJ, we've talked about the speed. Chuffy Clark is in the exact same position as Colonel MCJ was as we come into the water. This is a horse that has ridden at 4-star plenty of times. Yes, Chuffy, she's through the water.
Yeah, you can really see the horse's experience there, and does a super job. I think this is a horse that could be very fast as well. It's really an amazing horse to see in the cross country. Really, really super horse.
Well, we were talking to Chuffy a little bit earlier on, and she said she was going fast and straight.
I think it's good. I think, you know, you look at the score and you think 54.5, you're quite far off the lead, but she definitely has a good chance to be competitive.
One thing I would remind you of, Chuffy, just 22. This is only her 4th CIC 3-star. For various reasons, it took her a while to get to CIC 3-star level, but what a horse to be sitting on when you're here. Second Supreme. This is his 12th CIC 3-star, so lots of experience from the horse. The rider doing an excellent job.
Yeah, it's going quite well, and she's going quick enough. It'd be very interesting where she is. But I think if we go back to Marcio, he went really quick in the beginning, and it's nearly like the horse went a little bit maybe tiring, and it's a very intense section of the course, and maybe it was just a little bit too much for the horse, and then he came there and not a perfect stride and choose to take the easy way out.
So she's 2 minutes and 55 left on the clock as she clears the Ultrabed Shavings Brock at 13, as Emily Philp and Camembert now away 54.3. Their starting score coming forward. 15th place, reverse order cross country. Remember, we're into the top 15 here at the penultimate leg of the Event Rider Masters series. And Emily just got in a little close to the second of those SAP brushes.
Yeah, I think she just should have maybe decided a little bit earlier on that line. Now we see Shafi, she goes on the 4 there. Yeah, very good horse. I think that, you know, you can see how experienced the horse. I mean, for the ideal line, maybe she angled the second element a little bit more, but then you can see the horse is very experienced and does a super job with it, and shows that it really trusts her. So it's really nice to see this combination doing so well.
Now to jump those rails at fence number 17, Chuffy would have needed 2 minutes and 20 left on the clock. She had 2 minutes, so she's about 20 seconds down. 7 minutes is the optimum time, remember, but this could certainly set a good target for combinations to aim at. 54.5. Chuffy Clark coming to the Malcolm Group Locken, fence number 19A.
Nicole, 15, 20 seconds today. Forget about it. That's not going to be a big deal. Half the field last year didn't jump clear. We've seen that happening again today. People are going to be carrying 20 penalties. People are going to be carrying a lot more than 20 seconds from those who get home clear. So for Chuffy to be still clear and anywhere near that time is an incredible achievement.
And I think as well, you see the horse, it's full of running, it's really flying, and I think you can really make up time here in the end. I think this could be one of the fastest time. And the horse looks so good. It really is moving and has a good chance.
Well, this time last year I was talking about Bettina Hoy, I was talking about Dolly Whisper, but there's still a test to come at the last part. There's still those angled hedges to get past as we get to the end of the course. Back to Emily.
Emily Philp and Camembert, a huge jump at the boat at the Equitrack Water. And she really commits up the step, gets both elements, so all 4 elements at the Equitrack Water safely behind Emily Philp and Camembert as Chuffy Clark is heading towards home. 54.5 was her starting score coming out. She's got 20 seconds left on the clock. Let's do a clock check for her in just a second. We know she's going to have time penalties. The question is going to be how many. She just needs to make sure that she takes her line right for the Event Scotland angled brushes at the penultimate.
Yeah, I think she have had a really good round. We see Emily, she's maybe haven't been as polished as Chuffy, but she gets the job done and is moving forward. Now we see here Chuffy. This is very exciting to see what time she is, because she definitely haven't been pulling too much and been having a very nice route.
Through the hedges and home, big moment.
Well, Chuffy Clark, 8.8 time penalties. The clock stops 22 seconds over, 63.3. That is going to be the target for our combinations to chase down. Chuffy Clark, this young lady, remember that name. Emily Philp, Camembert, coming to the House of Brodor wall at 14.
See what she does here. This will be a very challenging question. It's also difficult getting a good shot to that log coming down the hill. She gets a good shot there. Riding on the 4. Oh, very nice. That was very good piece of riding and very nice horse.
Well, she's currently about 35 seconds off the optimum time. Second Supreme was making up time all the way along that latter part of the course. Camembert, you're looking at one of the best show jumpers in the UK. That's a horse that has had 2 rails down since 2012, nationally and internationally. Never had an international show jump down. We're now getting to see what they do in the final phase in the cross country. But if you ever get to see Camembert show jump, make sure you turn up for it.
So Emily Philp, 1 minute and 30 left on the clock as she heads towards the Malcolm Group Locken. Fence number 19, A and B. And she is certainly down on the clock, and a little further down on the clock, I think, than Chuffy was as well.
And to going back to Chuffy, I think it's also remembering that is a really proper 4-star horse that have had the experience that it needs to keep going, and she could keep on riding it the whole way through. And that's a little bit the difficult part, is that you want to have as much left in the horse as Chuffy had in the end.
22-year-old with 22 seconds over. That will be one of the biggest results of Chuffy's career. For now, back to Emily.
36 seconds down on the clock as she jumped into that water there. She's certainly not hung around actually across the country, and bearing in mind this is a horse with not as much experience as Second Supreme, it is still a very good round from Emily Philp. So Emily heading towards home. She's 30 seconds on the clock before the clock will turn red. 0.4 of a penalty, remember, for every second over that optimum time. But Sarah Cohen and Treason head out on course. 51.0 their starting score. So unlucky to have 2 poles down in the show jumping. This the horse, remember, that was victorious in leg 2 in Wiesbaden. Sarah currently sitting in second on the series leaderboard, and she will be looking for a good finish here today.
Well, there's only one horse rated higher than Treason on the speed ratings, and that's Lebowski. I would expect Treason is going to push Chuffy Clark's time. 22 seconds over is the best we have home.
Now, the first rider we've seen take that right-handed brush at the first element. Ludwig, I think Sarah was signalling her intent to chase the clock there. But Emily Philp, Camembert, is heading towards home at those last angled brushes, nearly 50 seconds down on the clock, but still goes on towards the top spec final fling at the last. She's not going to be able to challenge Chuffy. Chuffy's out in front, and it is 63.3 that our combinations need to beat.
Well, a huge achievement for horse management. Camembert was off for all of 2016, Blenheim 2015, and then Nunney this year are their last 2 rounds. So to have that time off, to bring him back and to deliver a performance like that, a huge well done to Emily.
We saw that jumped by Sarah very nicely. That was really how you want to do it. I mean, it'd be very interesting to see how fast Sarah is. So I think she's a little bit faster than Chuffy there, actually.
Well, Chuffy Clark takes her spot at the top of the podium. How long will she be there for? She has the target on her back now. And Sarah Cohen, Treason, coming to that air ambulance parallel down to the Equitrek water. Just under 4 minutes and 30 left on the clock. So she is about on time as things stand at the moment.
She's about 7 seconds faster than either Colonel MCJ or Second Supreme were at that point. Treason on course. This is what we expected, a speed round from a horse who has become a huge favourite across the Event Rider Masters 2017. Sitting in second in the series, already has 4 scores locked in. Will he be able to improve and get closer to leader Gemma Tattersall before the end of today?
I think she is. I saw this horse when he was a young horse, and I already then thought it was a really, really top horse, but Cohen is a really top rider as well, and it's great to see her doing so well.
Well, Matthew Heath goes away now with one of a kind, 50.1 his starting score, one of those elusive clear rounds in the show jumping. So he comes forward in 13th position. We're approaching the top 10 here, the reverse order cross country in the Event Rider Masters. We're not going to know the winner until our dressage and show jumping leader, Frankie Reed-Warrilow. She'll be out on course as last to go. But Sarah Cohen.
No, she's coming. Is this the... She already jumped the second water, and I think she's quite fast there. She
is quite fast, Ludwig. She's one of the fastest in the field.
And I think it'd be interesting to see the horse looks like it's very full of running, and it'd be interesting to see how close she can get. I thought the time would be impossible, but we'll see. It'd be very interesting to see how fast she is.
Well, Sarah, hugely experienced, riding in her 25th CIC 3-star international, but a 95% jumping rate of clears for the rider. When you look at Lebowski, 20 CIC 3-stars, 94% clear. This is a horse and rider that don't make mistakes cross country. They jump clear, and they jump clear on fast times. Really one to watch.
13 seconds down on the clock as she jumped the Land Rover log. She was going the direct route on the quickest stride distance through the Event Rider Masters brush arrowheads.
Yeah, I think she made a really good job of that. It also shows that she really knows the horse, and with them, when you have a partnership like that with a horse, it's fantastic that you can really trust the horse and just ride in a positive way.
I have her 7 seconds ahead of Chuffy Clark at that point, Nicole.
She can afford to be 30 seconds over the time to go ahead of Chuffy Clark, but in terms of the series, she needs to be as fast as possible to put the pressure on Gemma Tattersall. Matt Heath, one of a kind, very neatly clear of the Bailey's horse feeds, angled brushes at 6A and B. And I have to say, I feel like we've really upped the tempo on the cross country now. Riders are setting out like they mean business.
It's starting to become so exciting, isn't it? It's like now they're starting to go a bit fast, and it's really exciting to watch this.
Well, we're about to get a timing marker for Sarah Cohen and Treason. She's slightly down on the clock, but how about 9 seconds? This is by far the fastest round we have seen so far. Sarah Cohen and Treason swings back left-handed to the Malcolm Group barrels. She'll be looking to take the most economical line possible to the second of those corners.
Come on. I think she could make the time, maybe a couple of seconds, but she is very fast.
Well, Matt Heath at the air ambulance parallel goes down to the Equitrek water as Emily Filt goes into second on the podium. Chuffy Clark still out in front. Of course, reverse order means that those coming now are all chasing her down.
There we saw really some top riding of Matt. It was really smooth and good riding. He got a good jump over the first one, got to go back to then attack the following line. Really smooth and good riding.
Well, Sarah Cohen and Treason, owned by Pressy Spark and Liz Jones. Treason, 15 years of age now, by hand in glove, has been such a superstar for her over the years. They won in Wiesbaden. The clock is still green. This is going to be the fastest round we have seen so far. The last real question comes here at the Event Scotland Angled Brushes, 23A and B. She's 12 seconds down on the clock, but she is pushing towards home. Sarah Cohen and Treason, the clock turns red. She comes round to the top spec final fling at the 24th and final fence. She had 30 seconds in hand over Chuffy Clark. She's not going to need them all. She is going to be our fastest round so far, and some 16 seconds over the time, 57.4. Sarah Cohen goes to the top of the podium.
Well, interesting for me, that clock check that we take just after the castle actually rang true, Nicole. There was not a huge amount of time made up on Chuffy in the second part of the course. That 7 seconds ran all the way from there. We're going to have to get it. We're going to have to be used to checking the clock at the castle.
Well, confirmation actually that Mark Todd has withdrawn Kilsubrid Rhapsody, so he won't be coming forward to the cross country. And that means that Mark, currently sitting third on the series leaderboard, needs to have some counting scores at Blenheim in the series finale derm to count.
Absolutely, Nicole. I'm looking at Matt Heath. I'm looking at one of a kind, because Matt, a hugely experienced rider, 50 CIC, 3-star runs already under his belt. One of a kind is actually at that point in a very fast time, 2:22 at the castle. He's not far off the times that we've been talking about with Chuffy and with Sarah Cohen. He is putting in a fast round so far. On to Polly Jackson.
Polly Jackson, Griffin, Papillon, a combination that have completed at 4-star level, 49.8 in 12th position coming forward. Polly hugely involved in the Monarch sale over in Ireland, who have very kindly donated an owner's prize for the owners that own each of the horses that win in the Event Rider Masters Series. 2 nights stay in Monarch Hotel over in Ireland.
There she got a little bit for an ideal stride, a little bit careful jump, and now she needs to ride strong to keep the horse going. Just good job there. Nice horse, good riding. That's a little bit the difficult thing with that water, is that it's easy to get a little bit too careful jump over the first one. Here we're back to Matt. Oh.
Well, Matt Heath, one of a kind, at the Malcolm Group Barrels in the Water. We'll do a clock check for him in just a second. He has 18 seconds in hand to be ahead of Sarah Cohen. And I have to say, I think he's over that down on the clock. We'll check that officially at his next fence. But Matt is pushing towards home. Still looks to have a little bit left in the tank as well.
Yeah, I think here you have a chance to make up time, depending on how much you got left in the tank. And you really need to keep pushing and try to ride as smooth as possible to waste as little time as possible.
Well, he was a good 30 seconds down. He had 18 in hand, so I think he's going to be tough to challenge Sarah Cohen. As away goes Porrig McCarthy and Mr. Chunky. 44.2 their dressage. An uncharacteristic pole and a time fault in the show jumping, 49.2. Sees them come forward in 11th position after the first 2 phases. Porrig, of course, a international show jumper in his earlier years, actually turned his hand to eventing full-time back in 2013. But Matt Heath, one of a kind, comes to the Event Scotland Angled Brushes at 23s, 28 seconds down on the clock there. So the time has slipped away from him somewhat. He's not going to be able to knock Sarah Cohen off the top spot. He should make it onto the podium, but Sarah Cohen starts her climb up the leaderboard.
It's still a very good round of Matt, and I think at the end of the day this will be a fast time. He rode the good lines, and it looked like he was riding fast enough.
Is that an indication as to how fast Sarah Cohen actually went?
Yeah, and I think she, yeah, definitely. Maybe we see Beanie as fast, but otherwise I think it's going to be difficult to see many other riders as fast as Sarah Cohen was.
Well, I think we just happened to see some very fast riders in a row, and maybe, you know, that led us into complacency. You see Polly now. Polly's about 15 and 20 seconds behind where our last 3 riders were at that point, up at the castle. So back to Padraig.
Yeah, I think he jumped that line very nicely. It'd be interesting to see how fast he can go. Has a very good eye, and that also can save a bit of time if the horse is rideable as well. So, no, it'd be an exciting round.
So Polly Jackson-Griffin heads down to the Malcolm Group Locken as Porrig McCarthy is at the first of the waters. The Equitrek combination, 4 elements here. And we saw the early couple of riders make this look fairly tricky, but actually it has jumped relatively well since then, and Porrig certainly makes it look straightforward.
Yeah, it was very nice riding, and the horse was with him. I mean, I think the other riders rode it well, but you can really tell the difference when you see something like Porrig, who's really a top rider. Go back to Polly here.
Don't worry, Mum, I'll be back in a minute.
This is very nice.
Sorry.
So she's 42 seconds left on the clock, jumping in to the Malcolm Group barrels. She is well over 30 seconds down on the clock, actually. She has 18 seconds in hand to go ahead of Sarah Cohen. She's going to be really pushing to go to that, but Sarah Cohen, well, she is there at the top of the podium, and she will be holding on to that top spot for as long as possible.
Yeah, and I think you see Polly there, she was still pushing and she's still trying to be competitive. It just shows how difficult the time is.
Well, let's go and hear what Cutty has to say with Michael. That was fast.
Sarah, congratulations. You're currently on the podium. A very quick time. How was it out there?
Yeah, no, he felt fantastic. I was thinking I perhaps could have been a bit brave on the flat open fences down here, but he was in such a big gallop. I'm no stupid chase jockey, so I just had to sit up and balance him. You know, he gave me a fantastic ride, and you know, you got to look after them. And he just felt fantastic. He felt full of running and finished really well. So he loved it. I loved it. So, you know, what more do you want?
Do you think you've done enough to stay on here on the podium?
Oh, I'm not sure I was quite quick enough, but I'm making the most of it.
Well, fingers crossed for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, she'll be there, no doubt, for as long as she possibly can be. Ludwig Svenestall, he's been in the studio with us for the first session of Cross Country. He's going to dash off, but we'll say a big thank you to him. And we're going to be joined by another international event rider. This time, we are welcoming back Sam Griffiths to join us. So, Sam, I have to say, the course has been proving as tough as we expected so far.
You know, I'm lucky I've come in for the exciting part. You know, this is where it's going to be won and lost. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, we are into the top 10. The reverse order of merit. Tim Price in 10th place after the show, jumping 48.6 with Sekatinka. And this one of the fastest rounds in leg 3 of the series at Barbury. Just a couple of seconds over there. And in fact, not many made the time on that occasion. So Tim Price and Sekatinka on course.
Tim Price was the only rider to make the time in 2016 in the Event Rider Masters at Blair. Sekatinka, as you say, Nicole, a horse that is fast, still only a 10-year-old, so we have to make sure we give her time, but she's 2 jumping clears on her record already. She's through the water.
You know, and he's done that pretty quickly. Perhaps not as smooth as we're used to seeing Tim do it, but boy, he's in and out of there really quickly.
So let's do a clock check for Porrig McCarthy. He has 20 seconds in hand to go ahead of Sarah Cohen as he comes to the Malcolm Group water, and actually 33 seconds down on the clock, so he would need to catch up a good amount of time to push Sarah off that top spot on the podium.
Key thing here for Podrick is going to be a clear jumping round. He knows that time penalties are going to crop up for many, many riders, but he'll be thinking about Mr. Chunky's comeback. He's managed it very well so far. He wants a clear jumping round. He's one of the only riders in the field who's been at Blair before who has a clear jumping round, so he'll be holding on to that record. Sekatinka, back to Sekatinka. She's still clear.
Well, through the St. James's Place water at 11A and B. And Tim now has the opportunity to just open up on the accelerator slightly, but Porrig McCarthy and Mr. Chunky.
And this is the one part, when you get back onto the flat part of the course, this is a bit where you want to try and go really fast, but that's assuming your horse is still full of running.
And you very much have to ride what's underneath you, don't you?
Very much so. That the very steep hill at the beginning and the holding going can really take the sting out of the horses, but you still want them jumping well for you at the end of the course.
Well, onto a rider who's very experienced at this venue. This is his 5th time in the CIC 3-star here at Blair. Looking at Calidor, a 15-year-old, he's coming towards 10 CIC 3-star run, so an experienced horse and rider now on course. Back to Porrick to finish.
Well, Mr. Chunky heads on to the final fence. The clock is red. He's not going to be able to knock Sarah Cohen off the top spot, but a very good round across the country. He clears the top spec final fling at 21, and he comes home to complete 16.8 time. He finishes on 66.0.
Now this is one of the key fences in my mind. You know, there's a couple of ways you can ride it. Now he's taken the little bit safer route of adding the 5 strides down to the first part. But you know, if you want to do the 4 strides, you're so committed. And of course, if you're that committed, you make a little mistake, then you're in all sorts of trouble.
So Paul Sims and Calidor clear of the Bailey's horse feeds, angled brushes at 6A and B, but Matt Heath makes his way onto the podium. Emily Philp makes way for him as he finishes on a score of 63.3. So the top 3 as things stand: Sarah Cohen 57.4, Chuffy Clark 63.3, and Matthew Heath 63.3 as well, but a little bit slower across the country. So he's in second as things stand. Paul Sims, Calidor, coming to the Equitrek Water, and we've talked a bit about that parallel because it is huge, Sam.
And it looks like it's riding super big as well, and you know, you've just got to be so strong in your position so you don't get unseated and you can start to influence your horse on the first stride of landing. Otherwise, you've got this whole combination to go through.
Well, Paul Sims, Calidor head off up the hill in search of the Aardvark Safaris open ditch. And it is a really imposing ditch in front of that fence, but it would almost be classed as a let-up fence.
Well, it looked like he just stepped over that. I mean, he's a big striding horse and a very powerful jumper, so you know, he made that look as easy as he did.
So Tim Price is coming towards home. Let's take a look at his clock. 48.6. He has 21 seconds in hand to go ahead of Sarah Cohen. We'll do a clock check for him as he comes to these angled brushes, but it is going to be the fastest round that we have seen so far, I think.
Well, only 3 riders have made the time this decade in the CIC 3-star class at Blenheim. 2 of them are on course at the same time, Paul Sims and Tim Price. Neither of them riding the horses they're on today. This is fast, Nicole.
Well, the clock is about to turn red, but he has 21 seconds in hand to go ahead of Sarah Cohen, so it is just the top spec final fling at the final fence that is going to stand between Tim Price, the top of the podium. He clears it nicely, and the clock is red. He's 13 seconds over, 5.2 time, but top of the podium, 53.8.
And his horse looked fuller running at the end. I mean, that's what you want. And, you know, even that last fence you've got to give a bit of respect to. So, yeah, well done, Tim.
I think Sekatinka is a 10-year-old. Sekatinka is a 10-year-old mare that we can all look forward to in the future. She has it in the dressage. She knocked poles today, but that's unlike her, and she clearly has the speed and jumping cross country. Remember that name, Sekatinka.
Now this will be interesting to see what Paul does here. Will he go direct on the 4? And if you do that, it makes the last element really difficult. Or is he going to hold out for the 5?
Well, Paul Sims over 30 seconds down on the clock as he jumped that Land Rover log, and he can be 13 seconds over to go ahead of Tim Price. So he's going to need to really put his foot down on the accelerator to come home. And it's sometimes a difficult position, isn't it, Sam? Because if you're checking your watch and you're chasing the clock, you can't forget that actually you've still got to jump clear.
Yeah, sometimes you'll just have days where you come out, everything's working for you and you can feel very fast, and there'll be other days it doesn't quite go your way. So, yeah, to make the time here or to go so fast, you need everything to go your way and you and your horse to be on top form.
Well, Paul Sims, quick check on his watch. He is heading towards home. He'll come out onto the flat very shortly. But Nicholas Bashkora out on course. He was our dressage leader with Tom Go 3.
And again, we all talk about the speed here, but boy, you've got some jumps you need to do. And this next fence or this next combination is you know, really tough. So let's see how he handles it.
Well, the Malcolm Group locking at 19A, 32 seconds down on the clock there for Paul Sims and Calidor. Clear of the corner at the B element as well. Swings back left-handed to the barrels into the water, takes those very easily. And the real S-bend, Alec Lahore, our course designer, really asking the question of our riders with a right-handed corner, then a left-handed corner. But Paul answers that question very well. Nicholas Bushkora, Tom go 3 at the water. Horse that has been top 10 at 4-star. Had a bit of time off though.
Well, he's a bit off that one. He's had to fight to get through it, but he's done. He's done it. So, yeah, sometimes, although we love to be smooth as riders, sometimes cross-country riding, you just have to grit your teeth and kick. And that's what he did there.
Sometimes it doesn't have to look pretty, it's just got to be effective.
Yeah, and his horse responded really well, and you can see he's such an agile horse to be able to be so quick with his feet there.
So Nicholas Bushkora at the St James's Place Water at 11A and B. Clear very easily through there. So Paul Sims heading towards home at these final angled brushes. He had 13 seconds in hand to go ahead of Tim Price. He's not going to do it. Some 34 seconds down on the clock. And importantly, he is dropping below Sarah Cohen and Treason as well. That is big for the series, Derm, because Sarah Cohen has a specific job that she needs to do to still challenge Gemma Tattersall for the series title.
Yeah, we need to see her in the top 5. That's the key. That's the first starting point. She's going to need to be ahead of Gemma as well, but she can only do what she can do from here, and she's delivered that part. We need Treason in the top 5.
Well, Tim Price is preparing to go over to the top of the podium. He's going to take great pleasure in knocking Sarah Cohen down into second and Chuffy Cluck down into third as Nicholas Bushkora and Tom go 3. At the Land Rover rail at 15.
Oh, he's lost his line. Can he recover it? Yes, he can. So, again, perhaps not as smooth as he would have liked, but like I was saying, cross-country riding, sometimes you just have to do what you need to do.
Well, you certainly do. Well, one man at the top of the podium, Tim Price. How long is he going to be there for? Let's go and hear from the man himself.
Tim, congratulations. You find yourself on top of the podium. A challenging course out there today?
Extremely challenging. You hit up the hill and you realise you've been spending the last few days down on the flat here, so it's a bit of a surprise for my little mare, relatively inexperienced, but she just dug deep and came home really well. I couldn't be more happy with her.
A good couple of weeks for you, of course, a new dad as well. It's all going swimmingly.
Yeah, I'd like to be spending a bit more time with mum and new baby, but no, it's been very exciting the last couple of weeks. So,
Tim, we'll see how much longer you can stay there for. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, Bill Levitt for Australia, Shannondale Titan out on course, rides this horse for himself and the Prentice family. 47.9 his starting score.
Good campaigner. Bill's horse has been a great campaigner for him, so we'll be interested to see how he goes.
Well, we talked about Treason. Shannondale Titan and Treason have both become synonymous with the Event Rider Master Series in 2017. Both of them are making their 5th start of the series this year.
Well, Nicholas Bushkora at the barrels at the water to 20, and he is some minute down on the clock at least. So he had 13 seconds in hand to go ahead of Tim Price. He's not going to be able to do it. So Tim Price stays at the top of the podium for a little bit longer.
Oh, and Bill's run in under that a bit too deep. The horse was a bit slow in front. Got very close to it, but he's recovered well. And let's hope that doesn't affect the horse's confidence as he goes on around the course.
But away goes the man who Echo Ratings have dubbed the fastest rider in the world, Christopher Burton, Graph Liberty, 46.9 in 6th place. The reverse order cross-country, we are into the top 6 here, and it is getting very close at the top. What can Chris Burton do? 46.9 is his starting score, and it promises to be a round you will not want to miss. He's coming to the Bailey's Horse Feed, step down at 5.
Chris is one of these riders that is just so competitive, and I'm sure he'll be giving everything to go as close to time as he can.
Absolutely. This is his 60th CIC 3-star for the rider. There's very few in the field ahead of him, just Oliver Townend and the other man on course, Bill Levitt, sitting up there ahead of him, but nobody sits ahead of him in terms of inside the times. 40% inside the time rate for Chris Burton. If anyone can get close to the time, it is him as a rider, but can he do it on Graph Liberty?
So Bill Levitt, Shannondale Titan heading to the rails as very close to home. Niklas Beschora, the young German rider, competed in Wiesbaden a little bit earlier on this year. Had 20 penalties on that occasion. He's clear jumping so far, just needs to clear the last. He's not going to be quick enough to challenge Tim Price's lead, but he clears the final fence and goes on to complete. And he finishes on a penalty score of 74.0. So we are coming into the top 6 here, and a key rider out on course. It is, of course, Christopher Burton, Graf Liberty.
So he's getting to the top of the course, but this horse is looking full of running, but the key will be full of running at the end of the course.
Well, we'll be looking forward to our first clock check on Mr. Burton, I can't help but feel. As let's do one on Bill Levitt. Shannondale Titan coming to the Malcolm Group Water. And 47 seconds down on the clock, actually. So that is a significant amount. And it would mean that he wouldn't be able to catch Tim Price. Has 14 seconds in hand. Sarah Cohen's moved up into the top 10. We know she needs to be 5th or better and ahead of Gemma Tattersall to keep the series leaderboard fight open going to this series finale at Blenheim.
I think Bill realises he's not quite going his way and looks like he's taking his foot off the gas a little, which, you know, is a very mature way of riding.
Right now, Bill wants clear jumping rounds. That's all he's going to be thinking about, and I'm sure Chris Burton the same. Chris Burton on track. He did pick up 20 on Graf Liberty at Badminton, but before that we had a long line of jumping clears. He has picked up time penalties in a number of those rounds, but he was clear and inside the time in the 4-star at Le Moulin back in 2015. Graf Liberty did have some time off, only one run in 2016. That was the Event Rider Masters at Blenheim. So again, we have to talk about managing the horses, taking them back. There's a lot of it will be tactical, the time penalties up until now. When Chris presses the button, it's usually underneath him.
Well, around 5 seconds down on the clock for Chris Burton and Graf Liberty as he came clear of the Land Rover log in front of the castle at 15.
But the good thing, Lisa, he just did that beautifully. He was nice and forward, and he was as smooth as we've come to expect Chris to be.
So Bill Levitt and Shannondale Titan coming towards home. They've just got the top spec final fling left to go, the 24th and final fence. They're going to be a good minute over that optimum time, but so far a clear jumping round. So just the one to go for Bill. And he will drop down the leaderboard slightly, but still a good round for him. And he finishes on 73.1. Now, importantly, that will actually move Sarah Cohen up to no worse than 8th, which means she will improve her series leaderboard points. Because, of course, it is all about the podium of the series, not just the series winner. But away goes Beanie Sturgis and the 17-year-old Lebowski. And this is a horse, Derm, that I know Equa Ratings have high hopes for.
Well, today is all going to be about speed. Speed and those time penalties. You're looking at Graf Liberty on course at the moment. We'll come back to Lebowski, but let's look at Chris through this water. How is he on time, Nicole?
He is 4 seconds down on the clock. By far the fastest we have seen out on course. And he is going to be kicking towards home. He's 1 minute and 8 to get home.
And very tight line through the water. He did not waste a second, and now the foot back down.
Beanie Sturgis and Lebowski easily clear of the Bailey's Horse Feeds angled brushes at 6A and B. And Beanie's going to really push on now up through the woods. We'll swing back to the Equitrek water. 44.3. She's in 5th position coming forward to the cross country. We're into the top 5 here. And she's taking a really economical line around that corner, Sam, because
Listen, they know each other so well as a combination, and you know, Beanie's not wasting a second, and you know, he's a cunning horse. He's not being too exuberant over the fences, but he knows what he needs to do. Whoa, 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 whoa!
20 penalties.
Beanie.
20 penalties. Lebowski is out of the run, and Beanie Sturgis 20 penalties, Nicole.
well, Beanie Sturgis, that is an expensive 20 penalties, but Chris Burton is about to knock Tim Price off the top of the podium. He clears the final fling, and he goes on to complete the fastest round by far we have seen so far. 2 seconds over the time, 47.7. That is going to be the score to beat. But let's just go back to Beanie here, because this is huge.
She was a little off coming in, and I think Beanie then realised she went to press up to the fence, and he never really locked onto that, and she'll be disappointed with that. And I know she would have expected him to jump a fence like that, but yeah, how disappointing for Beanie after being so strong in the first 2 phases.
So Beanie Sturgis is live now, back up at the top of the course, and goes to the St James's Place water at 11A and B. She'll just be looking for a nice, comfortable hack home now, carrying those 20 penalties from the Equitrek water.
Yeah, I think you can see she's just taken the foot off the accelerator a bit, although he's still naturally a very quick horse. But, Beanie is going to be gutted about that. I just know that for sure.
Well, away goes last year's winner here at Blair Castle, Oliver Townend, with Angela Hislop's Cooley Masterclass 43.7. And Oliver has 9 seconds in hand over our current podium live leader, which is Chris Burton on 47.7.
This is going to get exciting.
Cooley Masterclass was our favourite for the leg coming in here. We didn't expect that pull down in the show jumping, but how much will it set him back? He has only accumulated 4 seconds in total in his last 4 CIC 3-star rounds. Of course, we have a very different challenge here today at Blair, but the key thing, he still has a chance at getting on the series podium. Oliver Townend is still in this series, our defending champion. He can't win it, but he can hit the podium, and he can certainly hit the podium here today.
And one thing I'll tell you, he'll know exactly how much time he has up his sleeves. He'll have someone telling him as he goes into the start box, so he'll know exactly what he can do.
Well, the most experienced rider in the field, the most experienced rider in the world in recent years. Every year he closes in on 100 international runs, 155 CIC 3-stars already under his belt. To put that in context, last week at the Europeans, he had twice the amount of runs as the whole rest of the field. He's huge experience. He's been in all these situations before. So the pressure that he's feeling now with Cooley Masterclass is water off a duck's back to Oliver Townend. Back to Lebowski.
So Beanie Sturgis goes on to the Malcolm Group Locken, carrying those 20 penalties, of course, but goes on still to fence number 19. This horse, 17 years of age, could be his last ever international competition, and he's still only 32 seconds down on the clock, despite that problem a little bit earlier on. Well, Chris Burton is knocking Tim Price off the top spot. So the current podium is Chris Burton, Tim Price, and Sarah Cohen. Remember, we have still 3 combinations to head out on course. As Baby Burton joins Chris on the top of the podium as well. And we'll be hopefully able to hear from Chris and his thoughts on Alec Lahor's cross country with Michael.
Chris, congratulations. A fantastic time around there. How did you find the course?
Yeah, thank you very much. The owners and I deliberated a lot over whether we'd run him. Of course, we were a bit disappointed with 2 down, but he's got so much engine and he loves his job so much. I had a really nice ride.
I can see you've brought a little one onto the podium here. Is that a tactic, of course, the rolling podium? People can come and knock you off the top with a good time. Is it a good tactic to stop people knocking you off?
You make a very good point. I hope they feel very mean.
Do you think you've done enough to stay there?
I don't know. We'll wait and see. I'm very happy with the horse and it's fun to be here.
Chris, thank you very much.
So Chris Burton is going to be holding on to that top spot for as long as he can. Beanie Sturgis can't knock him off. Lebowski heading towards home.
Well, Nicole, we're running out of people who can knock him off. Amazing for all that Chris Burton has won. We're still waiting for an Event Rider Masters win. So could today be the day? Lebowski on his way home. Oliver Townend on course. That's a man who can still move ahead of him. That's the man who won this class last year. That's the man who won this series last year. He's on course now with Cooley Masterclass.
Well, in 4th place, coming
Oh,
forward.
it just looking like, sorry to interrupt, it's just looking like Ollie's having to work a bit there, and I think that will have him a little bit nervous, but what a competitor Ollie is, so we'll wait and see how he goes.
He worked his way clear, as you say, Sam, of the Equitrek water, heads on now to the Aardvark Safari's open ditch at 10 as Beanie Sturgis comes home safely. A real shame about those 20 penalties. But what a career this horse has had, and I'm sure he will be absolutely cherished by the Sturgis family for the rest of his days. Oliver Townend, Cooley Masterclass. 2 minutes 45 left on the clock. We're going to do a clock check for him very shortly because I think he's slightly down and he's coming to the Land Rover log. Would need to be jumping here in 2 minutes and 43 left on the clock. So he's going to be a little bit more than that down.
Yeah, he doesn't really look like he's enjoying the ground or the going so much, but you see Ollie's giving it everything, and you know Ollie's determined when his arms start to flap.
Well, away goes Shane Rose for Australia with Virgil, 43.1, and this a horse that was coming forward in 3rd place. So we're into the podium here now. And Shane, based with you, Sam, over here in the UK for the summer. So he's a man you know very well.
Yes, and he's a very quick rider, but the one question I'd have, although the horse show jumped very, very well, is how's he going to handle the going? The horse has grown up in Australia, used to that hard, fast going in Australia, and we'll see how he copes with it here.
He took the most economical line there.
Yeah, and then ran in a little deep for the next element, but this horse jumped him out of trouble really well. So, yeah, I think Shane's meaning business.
So Oliver Townend, Cooley Masterclass are coming to the Malcolm Group Locken. We'll get a clock check from here.
You know, I know he'll give his best.
As a rider, this is the man to watch. Last year we saw him on Kilnabrid and Evo. There was lots of rounds that weren't smooth, but he got them home clear, jumping and usually fast. Back to Shane Rose and Virgil. Shane on this particular horse has been inside the time 5 times his entire career. Well, he was clear inside the time at Lemoulin in 2017. That was a big result, but you can go back to Adelaide 2015 for the time before that. Back to Oliver Townend.
Again, not wasting a second, jumping right on that white flag, cutting the corner and saving every second he can. And yeah, and he's really pushing the horse hard home now.
Well, he has 9 seconds in hand to go ahead of Chris Burton on the podium. He's going to be pushing it. I think it's slipping away from him slightly because he's still got this last question. The Event Scotland angled brushes at 23 A and B. Needs to get this right. 16 seconds down on the clock. So he's not going to be able to do it. He won't be able to knock Chris Burton off the top of the podium, but he should be able to get onto the podium.
And not just the podium here today, Nicole. Don't forget, this series podium is still open. Oliver Townend was the winner last year. He's fighting for that check and to get back on that podium in the series this year.
Well, he pushed towards home. He's 20 seconds over the time, 51.7. Oliver Townend goes into second. Sekatinka goes down to third, and Treason slips off the podium into fourth. But Chris Burton secures himself a worst place fourth finish.
Yeah, so Chris is going to be thrilled with that. I think seeing Ollie give his all and be that much behind Chris time-wise, I think just reflects on how good a round Chris has done.
So Shane Rose, brilliant shot of him as he goes clear of the Ultrabed Shavings Brock at 13, makes the run up towards the back of the castle, and then the Brewador parapet wall. We'll see him make that long run down to the Land Rover question. Shane has 11 seconds in hand over Chris Burton at the top of the podium. We'll do a clock check for him very shortly.
And again, this is a very big jumping horse. I know Shane wants to stay quite positive down through here, so let's see how he does it.
Well, I tell you what, he is 8 seconds down on the clock. He is not a million miles away.
No, and he is a fast rider, and let's see how he gets going down on the flat.
Well, away goes second placed Gemma Tattersall, Pomero 4, 42.5 Gemma. And this is a horse that actually finished 7th at Barbury with Gemma just a few weeks ago. A new ride for her this season was produced through the levels by Laura Collett, owned by Clive Smith. Clive, of course, who owned the Cheltenham Gold Cup winner Corto Star. But Gemma will be looking to put the series to bed here at Blair Castle. She wants to secure the title. Now, Derm, just explain to us exactly how she can do that.
Well, we need Sarah Cohn in the top 5. It's going to be very close. She's slipping down towards the bottom of that top 5 because Shane Rose is on his very close to the time, and he's on course at the moment. So he's going to lightly get onto the podium if he can stay jumping clear and we also need her to be, we need Gemma to not be ahead of her. So it's complicated at the top, but it's between those two. We need it open going into the last leg. Shane, back to Shane. He's through that water.
Well, I have to say,
Do you know, I don't think you'd have seen too many quicker through that combination. His lines were so tight. And, you know, that when you're confident you've had a good partnership with a horse, then that's the sort of thing you can do. And that's the thing facing Gemma. This is a new combination. And when you're at the top level and you're trying to go your best, you really want to know your horse well.
well, Shane Rose is heading towards home. 50 seconds down on the clock, but he was only 3 seconds over the clock when he had his last clock check, and he actually has 11 seconds in hand to go ahead of Chris Burton. If he can go ahead of Chris Burton, he secures himself a podium finish. But Gemma Tattersall in second after the first 2 phases with Pomero 4 comes to the Equitrek Water.
Gemma has been a huge player in Event Rider Masters 2016 and 2017. 2016 she was a hot favourite going into that final leg. She has brought all her horses to all the different legs. Tactics have played a big role. She is on course with Pomero 4. Shane Rose is on the time, Nicole.
Well, Shane Rose has 7 seconds to get home with Virgil. Quick check of the clock. He's on 43.1. and he will be looking to clear the final fence. He gets it, and he is going to go to the top of the podium. We are going to have an Australian on the top of the podium once again. Chris Burton will go down into second as Oliver Townend makes his way over to the podium as well. He is in second at the moment with Cooley Masterclass. Chris Burton, well, he better enjoy that top spot for just a few seconds longer.
Well, last year, 45.2 was enough for Kilnabridden Evo to win it. We're just off it, 45.9. Shane Rose, he's very, very close to that record.
Well, let's go down to the podium because, Michael, I imagine the atmosphere is electric down there.
It certainly is. We've got a fantastic atmosphere. We can see our top 3 at the moment. Is it going to stay like that? That is the big question. Just a few riders left to go out there. It's going to be tense. It's going to be tight.
So Gemma Tattersall and Pomero 4. Beautiful shot of the castle here at Blair. It is the most inspiring location. If you've never been, put it on your bucket list because it is the most magnificent setting for some top-class equestrian sport. Pomero 4 in second after the first 2 phases is slightly down on the clock as she comes to the Land Rover log. I think we'll get confirmation on how far down in just a moment. So she should have been there in 2:43 left on the clock, and she was there with 2:33 as well. So she's slightly down. She's going to need to catch up.
Yeah, perhaps about 10 seconds down. And but listen, she did that really smoothly, so she'll be pleased, and she'll be looking to be able to press on as best she can.
Well, our leader coming into the final phase is away on course. Frankie Reed-Warrilow with Dolly Whisper, the horse on which she won an individual gold medal at the CIC 2-Star European Championships a couple of years ago. 40.4, they did a super test in the dressage, backed it up with their usual exemplary performance in the show jumping. Now, this a horse, what can we expect time-wise for them? Because she's one of the smallest in the field.
Yeah, just 15.3, this mare. They have a long-time partnership. They were in a good position last year when they came unstuck at the final hedges on that homeward turn here at Blair. However, there was a hold on course last year. They got an opportunity to get their breath back. They're probably not going to get that today. Time is going to be the big question for Frankie. But she's in pole position. It's hers now. She has to limit that damage. Back to Gemma, Nicole.
Well, Gemma Tattersall has 15 seconds down on the clock as she jumps into the water at 19. So she is heading towards home, has actually 8 seconds in hand to go ahead of Shane Rose, who's just taking his place at the top of the podium. He didn't have any qualms about pushing teammate Chris Burton down into second. So it is an Australian 1-2 at the top of the podium at the moment. Let's go to Michael.
Shane, congratulations. There you are on top of the podium. Just a couple of riders left to go. Can you be there?
Well, I'm here. Yeah, look, the 2 girls in front of us are great. Like, Gemma's obviously leading the series for a reason. And, you know, Frankie's horse looked really quick and nippy in the show jumping. So look, I've done what I can do. Hopefully I can stay here.
You and Virgil looked incredibly quick as well. A great ride out there.
Yeah, he was good. I was a bit worried going up the hill. He was really clagged at fence 4. But the ground got better from 5 onwards, 5, 6 onwards, and he just made up a heap of time coming through. And look, he's a very good jumper, and he's just getting more and more rideable. So he's just coming into himself. It's a nice way to finish the season for him. He's back to Australia after this, so hopefully he can stay on the top of the podium. But either way, I think he's on a podium finish, so a good way to finish his season over here in England.
Perfect, Shane. Thank you very much.
Gemma Tattersall, the clock has turned red. She is heading towards home. She can't challenge the lead, but could she challenge for the series title here? Because she's just got the last to go. She clears it. She goes through the finish. Let's get confirmation of her penalty score, 53.7. She goes 5th, and that means we have a series winner.
We have a series winner, Nicole. That means we will go to Blenheim fighting out 2nd and 3rd positions, but we have a winner. She has done it again. Gemma Tattersall. She was here all of last year. It took she got to Blenheim, but she wasn't able to wrap it up at Blenheim. She has wrapped it up before Blenheim this year. She learned her lesson. Well done, Gemma. But for now, we got to get back to the leg. Frankie Reid-Warrilow, can she be the winner of the leg? Dolly Whisper is on course.
Well, let's just take a moment to look at the top 3. As things stand at the moment, it is Shane, Rose and Virgil out in front on 45.9. Chris Burton, Graf Liberty currently sitting 2nd, 47.7. Oliver Townend, Cooley Masterclass in 3rd, 51.7. Gemma at the moment sitting in 4th with Pomero 4. But of course, we have our 2-phase leader out on course. It is Frankie Reid-Warrilow with Dolly Whisper. 40.4 her score. We're going to get a clock check for her in just a moment. She has 13 seconds in hand, and I think she is already significantly down on the clock. We'll do a check for her in just a moment. She's 2 minutes and 13 as she comes to this log. She would have needed to be there in 2 minutes and 43. So she is down on the clock, but she could still challenge for a podium finish.
Yeah, she'll be just trying to get home as quickly as she can from here. She was a little ragged at the start of the course, and that's what can happen when you're trying to chase the time. But, the mare's now looking confident again, and I know she'll be trying to get us home as quickly as she can.
Well, we have a happy Aussie sitting on top of the podium. He'll be getting nervous, waiting to see will he become the first Australian winner of the Event Rider Masters. We have another happy Aussie in the studio. We have 2 on the podium right now and 1 in the studio. We're watching Frankie come home. Dolly Whisper, talk us through, because this is the final rider on course in this Event Rider Masters leg 6.
I think word might have already got back to the podium to those boys that she's a bit down on time.
Well, they'll be no doubt aware that she is down on time, but don't forget, we cannot rule her out just yet. Let's do a clock check as she comes into the water. Well, she's 30 seconds down, so the chances are extremely high that we are going to have an Australian winner in the Event Rider Masters series. But let's see Frankie go to the barrels, and this mare has really been such a star for her. They know each other inside out. And she's definitely going to be kicking towards home now.
Again, a very efficient line through that combination, and the mare looks full of running, and really nicely done through that combination.
Well, the big question now is, can Frankie Reid-Warrilow hit the podium? Last year's winner, Oliver Townend, is sitting in 3rd on that podium. He'll want his check from Event Rider Masters leg 6, but will he get it? Because right now, he might not, because Frankie Reid-Warrilow is on the way home, and she still has some time in hand.
Hello, everybody.
Well, she has 10 seconds left on the clock at the moment. She is coming to the Albert Bartlett potato box at 22. Then it is the last real question on course. And this is the combination that 12 months ago, this combination had 20 penalties at. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that Frankie will make every adjustment she possibly can to ensure that doesn't happen again.
Every adjustment is expensive, Nicole, because time is ticking away from Frankie Reid-Warrilow. 49.50. Is she going to hit the podium? Townend stays on the podium. The 1, 2, 3. Rose, Burton, Townend.
Well, Frankie Reed-Warrilow goes to the final fence, but it is going to be an Australian winner for the first time here at Blair Castle in leg 6 of the Event Rider Masters. Shane Rose is taking the title. Chris Burton will be second, and another podium finish for Oliver Townend's Cooley Masterclass. We'll get confirmation of Frankie's position in just a moment's time. But I have to say, what a round from that young lady, because the horse wouldn't actually be the fastest across the country, but she didn't waste a second.
No, hugely impressive round, and a lot more to look forward to. There's the potential we might see that pairing at Pau later this year, so keep an eye out for Dolly Whisper, Frankie Reed-Warrilow. She's just 15-3. She's one of the best show jumpers in the field. One to look forward to.
But that is one very happy Australian Shane Rose. Let's go to Michael and hear what the podium riders have to say.
Thank you very much, Nicole. A fantastic atmosphere down by our rolling podium. First of all, let's have a chat with third place Oliver Townend on Cooley Masterclass. Oliver, third place finish, must be very pleased with that.
Yeah, good. The competition didn't really suit Cooley Masterclass. He's a very good horse, and just thrilled with his performance, because ground didn't suit him, terrain didn't suit him, show jumping didn't suit him, but it just shows how good he is.
Massively. It's been a superb location being up here in Blair. A particular highlight of the weekend that stands out for you?
I love coming here. I've been coming here on and off since I was 15 years old, and it's been a tough week weather-wise, tough week for the organisers. The horses have found it hard work, but they've all come on from the run, I'm sure, and you know, finishing positively.
Oliver, congratulations on third place. Oliver Townend, third place at the Event Rider Masters here at Blair Castle. Second place, he was very quick, but not quick enough to pip our winner. Chris, congratulations, Graf Liberty. A great ride towards the end, an exciting cross country, and this is what the Event Rider Masters is about, isn't it?
Isn't it, exactly? It's truly exciting to be a part of, and we really enjoyed it. Shane and I walked the course early on and got up on the hill there, and we were falling out of our gumboots, and we said it's a bit different to Sydney, isn't it? But we're glad we ran, had a great time.
And competition-wise for you, you know, we had a great start to the competition for you, and also with the show jumping this morning. Anything from the earlier stages that sticks in your memory from this weekend?
Yeah, of course, to have a ride like that on him cross-country. He's a wonderful horse, and thank you very much to the owners for all their support.
Perfect, thank you very much. Second place, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Chris Burton. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first ever Australian winner of an Event Rider Master Series leg. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Shane Rose. Shane, congratulations. A fantastic weekend for you and Virgil.
Yeah, he was super all weekend. I was very happy with his dressage. He did the best test I've done on him. He stayed with me the whole way. He's really improving in that phase. Show jumping, he's had a very good record, and he's had a couple of just cheap back rails this season. So I was certainly putting a bit of effort in it, and he jumped super today. And cross country, he's always been good. Like Chris said, we don't get going anything like this in Australia. And at Chatsworth, I ran Virgil as well, and he got to the hills and really died. And we actually found he had a pollen infection in his lung, and it gave me a bit of hope that he wasn't going to die on the ground here. But coming up to fence 4, he was really clagged, and he just got over the hill and found a second win. And look, he was great. He galloped and jumped and was beautiful. It was probably the best cross-country ride I've had on him. So, you know, as I said, it's my final run on him before we head back to Australia. Really happy that, you know, he's finished with a win in an ERM class. I mean, it's the greatest competition in the world, this. Very privileged to be a part of it, and, you know, hopefully I can come back and spend a bit more time here in the future and continue, you know, having so much fun.
We'd very much like to see that as well. And just a word, being the first Australian as well, that must be a real moment of pride for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris wasn't sure whether he should run his horse, and I was talking to him, and I said, I really think you should. And, you know, I think the ground's going to be good once you get up the top of the hill, and you know, Chris is a beautiful rider and can make time easily, effortlessly. So I thought he, you know, probably did myself out of a spot on the podium, but fortunately I was able to do just enough to keep in front of him.
Well, Shane, congratulations. Our winner here, the Event Rider Masters Leg 6, Shane Rose.
Yeah, just one other thing. I'd really like to thank Sam Griffiths. I've been based at his yard, and he's helped me a lot with this horse and all my stay here. So this one's for you, Sam.
No problem. Very kind words, Shane. Congratulations to you. Well, that's the winner of leg number 6. But ladies and gentlemen, after her result today, we have a brand new series champion being crowned before we get to the final leg. Please put your hands together for Gemma Tattersall. Gemma, congratulations to you, Event Rider Masters Series Champion 2017. Just try and sum that up for us.
It's just an incredible feeling to have it wrapped up here and be able to go to Blenheim and just really, really enjoy it, riding one of my favourite horses, Chica Bella. I'm just so happy to be the winner, and what would we do without this series now?
Obviously, not a podium for you today, but you've had 2 podiums along the way to this title as well. That must be incredibly pleasing for you. And I spoke to you the other day, and we said about horse selection. We've seen a wide selection of horses you've brought along to these events. You've really judged this well this year.
Yeah, I'm really lucky to have a really strong team of horses this year, and thanks to all my owners that place them with me and trust me to ride them. And a really fantastic new member of the team for Primero today. We're going really well, double clear and finishing 4th. So yeah, I'm just so happy to have such a good string. I've been working all my life to have it. So
well, a massive congratulations. And just finally, I'm just looking forward to Blenheim even more now.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, to ride Chica Bella there and hopefully just really enjoy it.
Well, Gemma, congratulations. AJ, one more time, please put your hands together for the Event Rider Masters 2017 Series Champion, Gemma Tattersall.
Well, what an incredible finish to the leg 6 of the Event Rider Masters here at Blair Castle. The crowd's been piling in down at the podium, and it really has not been a disappointment. We have our first ever Australian winner of an Event Rider Masters leg, and it is Shane Rose with his owner Michelle Hazibar's Virgil, who topped the podium for the very first time in their career. And beautiful scenery here at Blair. It really has been a privilege to enjoy some top-class competition. So it is an Australian 1-2. Chris Burton, Graf Liberty, one of the fastest riders in the world, gave us the fastest time of the day, 47.7 to sit second. Oliver Tan, and of course his second series podium of the year. Well, Nicholas Bushgora Tom Go 3 was our dressage leader. He slipped down the order and eventually finished in 14th. But a good first Event Rider Masters completion for Westmore Quality, Ailey Jane Middleton as well. And Marcio George, Coronel MCJ. Well, Marcio will need to go to Blenheim to pick up those series points for him. Well, it promises to be an exciting conclusion at the series finale at Blenheim, and we have thoroughly enjoyed all of the action here. It has been an absolute privilege. We'll be heading down to the podium in just a moment's time for that live prize giving, but let's just take a moment here in the studio because Sam Griffith's with us. Shane has actually dedicated his win here to you. Does that mean he's going to share his prize money?
Well, yeah, we'll see how thankful he is when I ask for a percentage. But listen, I can't be more pleased for him. He had a bit of an unfortunate start to his European campaign when he came over this year. And I think it's a measure of the man of how he's been able to bounce back and produce such good results.
Well, we are ready for the live presentation of prizes. Let's go back to the podium.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Equitrek Blair Castle International Horse Trials for the Leg 6 Event Rider Masters prize giving. Please welcome Lisa Stone, chairman of the Event Rider Masters, who will now present to our 3rd place finisher. Riding Cooley Masterclass, owned by Angela Hislop, representing Great Britain, ridden by Oliver Townend. They receive prize money of £8,000, rosettes and a magnum of Paul Roger champagne. Now please welcome Chris Stone, CEO of the Event Rider Masters, who will now present our 2nd place finisher. Riding Graf Liberty, owned by the Graf Liberty Syndicate, representing Australia, ridden by Chris Burton. They receive prize money of £12,000, rosette and a magnum of Paul Roger champagne. Now please welcome Sarah Chawton, head trustee of the Athol Estates, who will now present the winner of the Event Rider Masters Leg 6 here at Blair Castle. Riding Virgil, representing Australia, ridden by Shane Rose, who will now receive prize money of £16,000, a rosette and a magnum of Paul Roger champagne. Now please welcome Kathy Butler, chairman of the Event Horse Owners Association, who will now present the owner of Virgil, Shane and Michelle Hazabar, with the Event Horse Owners Association trophy and also a 2-night stay in the Monarch Hotel in Ireland, compliments of the Monarch Elite Event Horse Sale, who's presented by Polly Jackson-Griffin, organiser of the Monarch Horse Sale. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for our podium finishers at the Event Rider Masters 2017 here at Blair.
Well, what a finish it has been to leg 6 of the Event Rider Masters. We, of course, still have one more leg still to run, the series finale at Blenheim next month, and this is how the series standings look heading into that. Gemma Tattersall, 108 points. She cannot be beaten. She is our 2017 Event Rider Masters Series champion. What a campaign from her, and what an achievement for that young lady. Sarah Cohen has secured either second or third position in the series. She will definitely be on the series podium. So Mark Todd, well, he will be aiming to go to Blenheim and will need those 4th counting points to try and keep a place on the podium. But he will no doubt be challenged by Marcio George, Tim Price, Oliver Townend as well, can all challenge. So let's head back down to the podium for one of my favourite bits of the prize giving. It is the champagne shower, and it is a celebration here at Blair Castle for leg 6 of the Event Rider Masters. We will be back for the series finale at Blenheim Palace International Horse Trials. All of the action will be live on the 15th and 16th of September, live and free, eventridermasters.tv. Make sure you catch the Sky Sports highlights package as well. But from us here at Blair Castle, that is all we've got time for. We will look forward to seeing you at Blenheim.
Forget regret.